All right, I'm putting this at the beginning of the video because I forgot. I did a short for 1 week swaths at a time showing the grass progression over 5 weeks, where basically I started on the left and rotated around. So I'll be posting that at the same time as this. So if you don't want to listen to me ramble, then you can just get the down and dirty on that YouTube short. Okay, it's been a little more than 5 weeks since we did our Bermuda grass seeding in what I call our nighttime area. And we live in rural Horry County, South Carolina. Horry County's the same county that Myrtle Beach is located, but Myrtle Beach obviously is on the coast. We're about 30 miles inland as the crow flies. So we had bought 9 acres of former farmland last year. So we were wanting to start seeding this year. What I'm showing you now, all of the field back here we own, and the farmer that farmed this property before we bought it is farming that right now. So he's maintaining the back 4.5 acres for us. So I don't have to mow or deal with that. That's his job. So what we did is we did a soil test, which in South Carolina, the best way to get a soil test is through Clemson University. Clemson is the agricultural school of the state. So you pay them a little bit of money, you give them a soil sample, and then they do the test and give you the result. Short version is, because this has been farmland for as long as the people around here could remember, there's 2 things with this soil. One, it is high in phosphorus, and it's a little bit low in nitrogen and potassium. And second, because of it being farmland like this, the pH is a little lower than what you would want it to be to grow most things. The pH for this property is 5.4. Bermuda grass, for instance, if you look on some websites, they'll say 5.8 and above, some will say 6 and above, but either way, it's higher than what we have it naturally on the land. What Clemson recommended is you put 37 pounds of lime in per 1,000 square feet, and then you put a little bit of fertilizer that has potassium and nitrogen but not phosphorus, since we're already high on phosphorus, and then you till it in the ground and then you seed. Well, basically what happened was the cultivator that we had broke and we were not able to get a cultivator, so all we could do was hand till this entire area. Now the nighttime area is not that big, it's only about 3,000 square feet. When I mean not that big is I have over 50,000 square feet that I'm going to have to till and eventually to put grass in, so 3,000 square feet is not that much compared to the total. And so what we did is we put the lime down, fertilizer down as best we could. We tilled it as best as we could by hand with rakes, and then we put the seed down. So this is the fruits of our labor. Obviously there's a lot more weeds than I wanted, but Bermuda grass is very notorious that once it gets established, it will choke out everything else, and B, it will very aggressively spread. Where if you want a nice manicured lawn with landscaping, accents and all that stuff, that can be a detriment. Out here, I would want something to spread aggressively, so I consider that a positive, not a negative. The other good thing about Bermuda is that it's very low growing, which means it never gets very tall. And so if you keep it mowed properly, it looks like carpet. I mowed Saturday morning, it's Tuesday now, And so the area that you look at over here, it just looks like carpet. It's not very tall, it's about 4 or 5 inches high, and that's what it looks like. So eventually the weeds that are in that area are going to disappear, and then it's going to look like a beautifully manicured carpet grass, which is what I want because it's low, and Bermuda's drought and wet tolerant, so that's really good for our sandy soil. So over here we've had a little less luck, but there is grass wanting to grow. It just needs a little help. Now, one caveat is today is Tuesday. There's a hurricane that's currently in the Gulf of Mexico that's going to hit Florida. It's going to hit Florida, I think it is like a Cat 3 or something, so it's going to be pretty bad in Florida. But then it's going to come over Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, and then it's going to end up getting to us. This is surprisingly a common occurrence with hurricanes, and so we've had several of them over the years that have done this. This particular one I don't think is going to come inland, at least that's what NOAA says. It's going to come in and then it'll scoot back out towards the ocean. I think the reason for that is there's a stalled front currently over about the middle of South Carolina, running parallel to the Atlantic Ocean, and that stalled front is going to keep the hurricane from coming inland if the stalled front stays the way it is. If the stalled front goes away, the hurricane is going to come inland. Believe it or not, hurricanes, as big and as massive as they are very fickle when it comes to fronts and barometric pressures and stuff. That's why super deadly hurricanes that hit land are kind of rare. Hopefully they can be more rare. But we've lived in Horry County since 2001, so we've had our fair share of hurricanes and hurricane eyes. We've had 3 or 4 hurricane eyes that have gone directly over us. The last one was Matthew in 2016. But anyway, enough tangent about hurricanes. So we should get about 6 inches of rain, maybe, and some wind to go with it. So from a hurricane standpoint, that's not that bad. So if anything weird happens after the hurricane, I'll do an update video. So that's what this looks like right now after 5 weeks. Yes, I wish more of the weeds were gone, but it looks like the Bermuda grass is taking hold in areas where it's growing. So over the winter, what we'll do is we'll put weed preventers down and that type of thing, and then we'll supplement with more seed or whatever we need to do next spring. And then hopefully a year from now, this will look like a grass carpet. The other thing I wanted to do is I wanted to go out to what I call no man's land, because we had also been doing some work out there. Okay, this area here, I call no man's land. Andre calls it the back 9. But basically, this is the area, is where I'm at now. Let me step back a little bit. Here's our fence. If I swing around, you can see the shed, Andre's mother's trailer. There's our house. The nighttime area is on the other side of the chicken coop over there. That's where I was previously. But basically, this area back here is about a ½ acre, and we were wanting to come in here and put grass in and have it be better than just a bunch of unfettered weeds, but at the same time we did not want it to be like perfectly manicured. So what we did before we got the soils report back, we put 50 pounds of bahia grass back here. Bahia grass in the south is used primarily for 2 things. It's used as a pasture grass, which is what we're wanting it for, even though we don't have any pasture animals right now. And it's also used mainly on the side of highways, because bahia grass, once it gets established, can also choke out weeds and is really good. And it's fairly low maintenance. It's drought and wet tolerant, just like Bermuda is. The difference between bahia and Bermuda is that bahia grass does not spread on its own. It requires its seed pods in order to spread. Where Bermuda grass, it puts roots into the ground, so it will spread by the roots in the ground that pop back up in different locations. It will spread by the surface, as in it will creepy crawl, and it will spread by its own seeds. And so that's how come it's very aggressive in spreading. Bahia grass, on the other hand, only spreads by its seed pods. It does not spread on its own. So we put the bahia grass, we put it down about the middle of June, I think. And then we got our soils report back and realized that the pH was too low for this area. And the other thing is, I wanted to show you, we have blueberries right here. Blueberries are one of the few plants that absolutely love acidic soil. Most people cannot grow blueberries because their soil pH is too high. 5.4 is like the perfect spot for blueberries. They can go down to 4, but anything above about 6, they start dying out. So we have to maintain a little happy medium out here, which will keep the blueberries growing properly, but also raising it so we can actually have a little grass out here. So what we did, I think it was 2 weeks ago, is we bought 800 pounds of lime and put 800 pounds of lime in this area. Basically, we maxed my truck out because I have a little half-ton truck. And yeah, that was an ordeal to within itself, was putting 800 pounds of lime in this area. So what the people at the store where we got it from, they basically sell all of the fertilizer and lime and equipment and stuff to the golf courses in Myrtle Beach. And if you don't know anything about Myrtle Beach has a lot of golf courses. I don't know if it's this way anymore, but the running joke was there was an old commercial about the state of Maryland, and one of the promos for that commercial was Maryland has 105 golf courses or something like that. That's the entire state of Maryland. Myrtle Beach at that time had about 105 golf courses. So at that particular time, the Grand Strand area, which is the general Myrtle Beach area, had as many golf courses as the state of Maryland. So I always thought that to be funny. So I figure if golf courses are good, and you know, if these people give golf courses advice, and if the golf courses take the advice, then they're good enough for us. So they said that you don't have to till the lime into the ground. They said Clemson just always recommends that, but they said a lot of times it's not applicable. So we just put it on the surface, and luckily it sat for several days. It did not rain, but with heavy dew, because you can see some of the dew down here still. And I don't know if you can hear it on the video, but there's a chicken doing a chicken song in the background. Chicken songs happen after a chicken lays an egg. I guess they like to announce to the world that they laid an egg, so that's what they do. So anyway, so that's what we did. And then we had light rain and heavy dew, so the lime should be filtering its way into the ground. They did say that the lime takes a long time in order to adjust the pH, which I had a feeling it would. So they're saying you're not going to get a true result for about 2 years. Obviously, what we did where the Bermuda is, we raised it enough for the Bermuda to grow. So I'll count that a success. And that chicken is still doing the chicken song. Oh, it's 2 of them. Okay. I'm not saying anything because I'm trying to, hopefully this can get on the video. Oh, sounds like they're done. Nope. All right, so evidently 2 chickens were very proud of themselves because they just laid eggs. So I did not want this to be a chicken video that just happened, so I figure I'd just let it happen. So what we'll do, hopefully the hurricane that's coming isn't going to mess up things too bad. I had some videos. We had some really bad rain 4th of July and about the week after that, where we were getting like 3 inches of rain in a little more than an hour, and it was flooding pretty much everything in the backyard here. The chicken coop, the run got all flooded and everything. But we had like 3 inches of rain. It was like 2.5 or 3 inches of rain in a little more than an hour. And that's a very, very heavy rain. But the good thing is we have sandy soil, and it was all gone in about 3 days. So that is one good thing about our soil. So anyway, enough rambling about the chickens and the weather. This is our first attempt of the grass area, and we'll see how it goes, and I'll update you if there's anything else to be with.